she's going to speak on intuition and the ways to enhance it, right?
Right, and I decided to expand it because Spirit has a plan.
Oh gosh,
And
my own words coming back at me.
Thank you, and I'm just thrilled to be here today. Thank you very much. And yes, Damon called me and said, I missed the PK party, PK short for psychokinesis, and can you, I'm going to do laughing yoga, but I really only need 5 to 10 minutes, so can I turn the program over to you for the rest of it and you do the spoon bending? And I said, sure. Well, things happened and he couldn't come. So I said, all right, the reason why I was going to do this for this group was for him, and he's not going to be here. So I'm going to shift over, and you'll have to track me and or him so that when we decide when he's available, we're going to do the next one. Just to give you a little bit of background, psychokinesis, this is a pretty good example of kindergarten bending, and I'll just pass it around. And you can see how hard it is. And the PK party, or psychokinesis, started with Jack Houck. Jack Houck was an engineer scientist working with the space program and extraordinary researcher, and became the #1 expert in PK, or psychokinesis, worldwide because he did more research than anybody else. And I met him, I opened my first consciousness training center in 1982 in Los Angeles. 1986, or yeah, I think 86, I started being on radio talk show before internet. So I was broadcasting to Southern California once a week for about 8 years. And I had an extraordinary introduction to consciousness, but one of the things I'm going to emphasize today is that growing up, I did not have any phenomena. I did not die and come back, not even close. I didn't have an introduction to any kind of spirit guides, nothing particularly creative. I was just kind of asleep and living a life. And when I was 23, I had a reading, and I started taking classes with a woman who was actually a trance medium, and she would have, unbeknownst to me, I didn't even know what it was called. It was, is that gone around?
It's all around.
Oh,
Did we have it? Thank you.
Unbeknownst to me, it was actually a birthday present for a tarot reading. And when I was 23, and I went to the woman, and she really helped me a lot, get some insights, and I just broke up with a man, and it was very heartbreaking. And I kept asking her questions, and she said, come to class. And okay, come to class. So she had a little house she was renting. She was an Avon lady by profession, her other profession. And then she did these tarot readings and had this meeting once a week at her house, where she would read from the books called The Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. Anybody heard of this?
Yeah,
Right. Foundational work. And what didn't even strike me as strange is none of us, either anywhere from 8 to 12 people every week, thought about, at least that I know of, reading the books. She would read a section, she'd come to class, and she'd go, what I read this week was, and she'd tell us a story from the book. And then that was about an hour, and then we would have psychometry, which was holding an object and paying attention. And the first time I said, I don't think I can do that. She said, that's okay. Just hold the object, relax, and see what you feel, any images, impressions, whatever, and say whatever comes to mind. And I said it, and people go, oh, wow, that was great, right? And I'm thinking, skepticism, how many of you are skeptical?
I was long ago.
Okay. I think a bit of skepticism is very healthy, because there's a lot of very weird stuff out there. Okay. And I teach a lot of it. Okay. And anyway, that went on. And then, so the second hour was psychometry. And what I found interesting was when new people would come in, a guest would bring someone, and we got to that part of the class, the guest would say, I don't think I can do that. And Reverend Marla would say, that's okay, just relax, hold the object, and say whatever you feel. I mean, the exact same little 30 seconds spiel. And the person, by then, like 3 months, 6 months, a year, you really start to know each other in the group. And you can absolutely verify and validate that the person saying, I don't know what I'm doing, they're reading psychometry for somebody that they never met before, and they were so right on it specifically or exactly what was going on the week before, and you know, wow. Okay, so I started to realize everybody can do this. At least everybody that comes to this class can do this. Then I went to UCLA. They had a experimental course in ESP one summer. And so I did that, and about 85 people were there, and it was phenomenal how many people, once you're taught and shown how to do the exercises, they can actually do accurate psychic readings on all different levels. So the interesting thing was the work at UCLA was more, I would say, more left brain approach. Relax your mind, use your imagination, and walk into an elevator and take the elevator down. Every number you're getting more relaxed, and you create this play shop, almost like a Silva mind control, and you can do all kinds of things. Now, Reverend Marla Oliver in the spiritual classes at her house, she would say relax and go through colors and imagine walking down a stream and notice all these things. And we could do all the same things, but it was a different languaging. And so I started going, wow, and here's the metaphysical or the spiritual approach and more the scientific or more rational mind approach, but it's the same end result. So I thought that was interesting, except that at the end of the psychometry section, section 3 of Marla Oliver's classes was now it's time for meditation. We would have a 1 hour, lights off, pitch black room, and Marla would start to say relax and imagine colors or rainbows or walking down a path and all this stuff. And then it would be quiet. And the only rule was don't touch anybody else during the thing. We did have a lot of phenomena, and usually every week Marla would trance channel, and we would have 2 to 3 different beings come through. Her voice would dramatically change, accent, pacing, and oftentimes, most of the time, I would open my eyes and I could be sitting 6 feet away or across the room, and it was like a holographic projection was shining over Reverend Marla Oliver, was her name, and you could actually see the entity coming through as a shimmering, like a holographic projection. So a little oriental person, a tall space being, and very few, maybe 3 people would come through on maybe once every 2 to 4 months. So it was different people all the time coming through. We could ask questions sometimes. And so it was like I'd go home going, that was weird, that was weird. But she's not asking for money, donate $5, whatever, if you don't have that, whatever, 50 cents, just something. She's not telling us or commanding us to do anything. The information is interesting and oftentimes personal. So I just kept going back. And most of the people in the class looked normal. Most.
Most of
A couple of them, not so much.
Yeah.
And I was, 23 at the time. I went up to the Magic Castle. There's a Magic Castle. You have to be a magician to be a member, and I was dating a magician. So he said, I have to go to a meeting, hang out by the bar for a few minutes. And the man comes by, sits down, and starts to do a reading on me. I'm going, wow, this guy's really good. So I started to do a reading on him. And he goes, how did you do that? And I said, well, how did you do that? And he said, it's a trick. And I said, "You're kidding me." And he goes, "Are you a shut-eye?" "What's a shut-eye?" He says, "Are you for real?" And I said, "Of course I'm for real. Aren't you?" He goes, "No, it was a trick." I said, "That's good." So developing psychic ability can be fun. It can be appropriate. Anyway, Marla moved back east. She had to go back to the Bible Belt to take care of her ailing older parents. And it's interesting to have a very talented trans-medium aware being transplanted into a place where you could be tarred and feathered, even in today's society, for even the slightest bit of doing what she did. So it was a very interesting thing, but that opened the door for me, and I just said, I don't know what to do next. But she did say, meditate. You know, all the answers that you ever need can come through your meditation. But our meditations in class was an hour. So I used to think, well, I have to meditate for an hour if I'm going to meditate. So I would feel guilty because I would only meditate maybe 3 times a week, an hour at a time. And I think, oh, I should meditate every day. But I realized that's more than a lot of other people do, even on the path. And so I went into meditation. I need to know. I don't even know what I need to know. Can anybody relate to that?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I need to know. I don't know what I need to know, but I need to have information and awareness and something. And I was guided to go to a psychic fair. Picked out of 35 psychics, a tall guy in a 3-piece white suit, Dr. James W.R. Thomas, who at that time was a chiropractor. His office was right across the street from the Bodhi Tree bookstore. And across town, separate, was Thomas Institute of Metaphysics, because he also started seeing light coming out of his hands as he was doing his healing work. He got on the path, started meditating, and literally had some downloads from some master teachers or ascended masters that literally woke him up in the middle of the night, picked him up, carried him into the kitchen, threw him down on the chair and said, "Write," and literally gave him like 5, 8, 10 pages of transcription of exactly what to do, exactly when it would happen, and everything has transpired. That was in the 1970s, and I met him in 1975. A couple of days later, after that, I was invited to the Thomas Institute from somebody I just met, for a woman, Patricia Rochelle Deagle. Anybody hear of her? Probably not. Patricia was an intuitive mystic. I believe she was a master teacher, and she would consciously stop time or extend time. So we would have very, very frequently, we'd have 2 hours on cassette tape back then and 1 hour in the class. Or she would do lectures, and she said, well, I was on radio and I promised everybody I would do a reading for everyone who came from KPFK, and maybe 150 people were in the audience. How many more people need readings? And 20 people would raise their hand. She says, well, I also promised that we would be out of here by 11 o'clock. It's 10 minutes to 11, so I need everybody's cooperation for a minute. And I'm sitting in the back, and this was the first time a friend of mine said, watch it, she's going to do it now. And I said, what? She said, just watch. She said, everybody please take your watches off of your wrist and put it in a pocket or a purse. Don't look at it. Close your eyes for a moment. Come with me to another time and space. Thank you so much. And then she started doing the 20 readings. And when she finished the last one, she said, okay, have I covered everyone? Yes. She said, somebody please take out your watch. What time is it? It's 10:59. She said, perfect. I always do my best to keep my promises. Everyone please leave quickly, quietly, and thank you for coming. So it was like, whoa, she's doing it. Okay, so I met Patricia, and the two, Dr. Thomas and Patricia, were working together, and we were taught something called the Cosmic Mandate, a blueprint for immortality. And the Cosmic Mandate was channeled from the future, from a teacher in the year 28, I believe it's 2800 AD, teaching on the planet Earth, so we're still here, some of us. and in a school for adepts. So this teacher, once you become a master teacher, you are not limited by time and space, and you can actually send a thought form into your past or into your future. And so Patricia had been working on, she'd been one of the top reincarnationists on the planet, I believe. People would dream about her from all over the world and they would find her. And when I took the first 3-day training called the Trinity Seminar, it was about accelerating our personal growth, basically through teaching us to literally do enough clearing, present life, and then start to get into our past lives to pull forward talents, abilities, and to release limitations, blocks, negative karma that was created in the past so that we can go forward with embracing more of our own creative potential and personal potential. And eventually, once you clear out enough of your own past and doing it consciously and unconsciously, not only on your soul level, but also on your genetic line, you can do genetic line clearing, and that affects your physical health, and sometimes the physical health of your relatives as well. We've had that experience. And so then you can start to tap into your future. And a lot of people think physical immortality is living forever in this physical body. And that's one way of doing it. And there's another way of doing it, which is having your past lives and your future lives all start to turn into the now instead of past and future, into turning it, shifting it, and you can have access to all of your past or all of your future in the now, consciously channeling. And so you don't really have to wait for time and space because your consciousness is aware of, can you imagine being aware of your 4th birthday party and being able to experience it now, if you wanted to, just as real as if you pinched yourself here at this moment. And so if you can do that and have that experience and also have your future experience, eventually you're going to be a master teacher, a mystic, and all of these things. So you're done if you want to be. Okay, so when I first met Patricia, she said, it'll take me 3 years to teach you everything I know, because I'm going to teach you how to merge minds. So there's a 3-day training that literally teaches people, which I specialize in, how to merge minds. And once you can do that and merge with 2 other people, all 3 people start to see and sense the same thing at the same time. And so if you have clearing, or if this person has clearing or an issue with a relative from the holidays, all 3 of us can tune into the cause of it, either present life, genetic line, past life, and start to clear it, because we're not emotionally attached. We don't have the same hooks and blocks. And so we pull together, we help this person, don't take it personally, we help this person evolve and move past it by giving forgiveness to self and anyone else involved, understanding the cause, whether it be this lifetime, a past lifetime, or some movie that you watched that's stuck in your consciousness that you picked up and is affecting you. So I worked with Patricia for 7 years, even though she said it will take me 3 years to teach you everything that I know. And by the 2nd year, I was co-teaching with her. And so we have a lot. So the blueprint really shows how all the esoteric sciences fit together. Everything from dreams, the levels of the mind, astrology, numerology, palmistry, et cetera, and you can apply it toward building a business, toward healing. So today I'm going to give you a little bit of laughter yoga, because I promised Damon, and I do my best to keep my promises. And it also, has anybody done laughter yoga? Really? Okay, great. if everyone wants to try this, is to go ha. Ha. Okay, now do ha ha. And really feel it from the belly, coming through out. Okay, ha ha ha. Ha Okay. Okay, wipe that smile off my face. Okay. It hurts.
It feels good.
Okay. All right. So anyway, I don't know anything about teaching laughter yoga, but that's. I've never really been to a laughter yoga class, but years ago I heard about it, and and they said just do ha 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 ha, and then you get to start to do it on command. And anybody start to laugh and feel a little bit different? What did it do to your energy?
Woke me up.
Right, and so it's really healthy. It builds endorphins, and I recommend practicing. And anybody know anybody that's depressed?
Then I can laugh. Yeah, quite a few.
Okay, well, there's so many different things that that I would love to share with all of you, because to me, psychic development is the foundation for spiritual growth and expanding your consciousness. And why would you want to expand your consciousness? Because if it's done well, not right or wrong, if it's done well, then your life starts to really transform. And so we're talking about more love, more laughter, better health. The number of synchronicity and the quality of synchronicity that goes on in my life on a daily basis is completely off the chart. People, when they hang out with me for a day or two, they absolutely can't believe it. When I go to a cash register, the numbers always come out. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, the day before, I went to the store. It was $1.11 for maple sugar. It was $9.99 for something else. It was something else, and it came out to $21.21. I go to another store, and it came out $19.19. It's like I couldn't even try to do that. And so the numbers, and not only 1919, but it was 222. And the first number was 222, and then ended up, I'm going, wow, I got that one. And 1919, going. So it's the synchronicity is all around me. And so when I get caught in traffic, that, you know, an hour and 45 minutes to drive an hour should be enough, but no, I needed an hour and I needed 2 hours for that traffic. And people go, well, if you were so psychic, how come you didn't know? There's something in terms of using your psychic abilities and living your life. And the way I was taught to develop my psychic abilities, and I want to take you through some exercises today, is to use them and to use them appropriately. And so when I use my psychic abilities to really tune into people, for example, for the purpose of counseling, for the purpose of helping them live a better life, understanding the timing, clearing up things, to just have a more fun experience, get through your pains and disappointments, and really work with ego and shadow and work through it quickly in a positive way, to really embrace the creativity, and so that you're living your soul mission that you're here to live. And so my teachers used to say it's like having a doctor's bag, and when you're at a party, You don't open up the doctor's bag and go, stick out your tongue and let me say, aw, and oh my gosh, I found this thing, let's operate right here. No, I might have a badge that says doctor, not that I'm doing medicine, but spiritual reader. And when people, oh, can you read me? What do you see in my aura? Blah, blah, blah. I'll hand them my card and say, set up an appointment. Not only because it's not, I don't do superficial readings unless I have to. I don't. And so, but the intuition that I have guides me all the time to really be in the right place at the right time, saying and doing the right things. Now, I used to be taught, when I first started, for many years, I would say a mantra every day. I want to be in the right place at the right time, saying and doing the right things. How many of you have said that ever?
Ever?
Okay.
I'm working on it.
All right, and then I was in a very severe car accident where I was, it was right before the seatbelt laws, so that's how old I am. Okay, so I'm driving, I'm thinking, oh, it's a good idea to start putting your seatbelt on, I guess. So pull away in my hearing, I'm thinking, don't be lazy, put on your seatbelt. Oh, okay. So I click on my seatbelt, and I'm driving, and I'm stopped at a light, and the light changes, and I look both ways, and I go, and somebody goes right barreling through a big truck, nails 3 cars. I was one of them. It hit me. If it had hit 6 inches further, if I was 6 inches further into the intersection, I would have been cut in half. So that was interesting. And it spun out and stuff. 6 people came back to the scene and gave testimonies. They had left, and then they each came back. And so it was really interesting. And I had to call the newspaper reporter from the Santa Monica Outlook, who was going to interview me later that day, and saying, well, I'm calling from the hospital. And I'm really okay, but they won't release me yet, and can we reschedule for tomorrow? And my biggest fear was her asking me, if you're so psychic, how come you had a car accident?